Hello everyone, Jake here. You can see my last entry here. Just let me clarify a few things to start the conversation. Yes, I've been living here since I was born, and as far back as I can remember, so has Sheriff Butch. Asking my mum, she mentioned that Butch comes from a long line of law enforcement officers, starting with his great-grandfather, the Cornwell Patriarch, who already wore the badge in his time. And apparently, they're stubborn about it, as both Butch's great-grandfather and grandfather died tragically in service, in a barn fire during an operation, and in a car accident, respectively. His father had dementia and was declared missing, although given the time that had passed, he's been dead for years. That said, our little town is getting ready for a party that promises to shake things up around here. The main street is adorned with colourful lights, and the local merchants are setting up stalls for the celebration. It's a typical festival, called Rebo Stelio, an anticipation of Year's End and Thanksgiving festivals. We usually gather on the street and share food, drinks, and games. Mr. Gonzalez is an enthusiast for the celebration, and of course, being a good employee, I was tasked with getting some items from the store for the party. I was off that day, and I have to confess it's pretty weird to go there without being on duty. Upon entering, I found the other employee, Dave, behind the counter. Dave is a middle-aged guy, with greying hair and an expression that oscillates between exhaustion and cynicism. Hey Dave, preparations for the party? Oh yeah, Ribostelio. Tell me, what do you need? Some drinks, some snacks. The town is going to be lively tonight. I'm sorry I can't cover this night, it must be tough to be here alone. I'll bring you a drink after your shift, I promise. It's okay. I enjoy being here when there's no one here. It's therapeutic. Dave started sorting the goods, and the conversation inevitably turned to the store and its idiosyncrasies. Dave was the new employee, who replaced Ryan. Hey, Dave, I commented, simulating a casual and ordinary conversation. Have you noticed anything strange in the convenience store? Ah, the old Gonzalez convenience store. Sure, I've heard of some bizarre things happening, but every place has its secrets, right? Legends circulate through the streets, but so far, nothing has happened, except for the animals rummaging through the trash bins. Well, can you check one more thing for me, please? I think I need that beer brand Gonzalez likes. It's in the back of the store. Oh, sure man, I'll be right back. I took advantage of Dave's departure to grab a thick slice of meat and put it on the office plate. I know I didn't receive instructions for that, but I didn't want to risk encountering a canned Dave in the morning. A few hours later, and the party was in full swing. The street was filled with laughter, lively music, and the tempting smell of street food. Kids ran around, and stalls offered prizes. The smell of cotton candy filled my nostrils as I salivated. I decided to take a walk to see if I could find someone I knew. In the midst of the crowd, I spotted Sheriff Butch Cornwell and Mr. Gonzalez, both standing near a beer stand. I approached unconsciously, remembering what the stranger had told me a few nights before. Hey, Sheriff, Mr. Gonzalez? Jake, my boy, how's it going at the store? Surviving, Mr. Gonzalez. The night seems to be lively. Are you sure it's a good idea to leave Dave alone at the store? I trust him, and especially in ignorance, he laughed. The guy has no idea what's going on there, and for now, let's keep it that way. You've kept the store entertained enough. Let it get used to the smell of the guy. I didn't know what it was, but there was something strange in the way Gonzalez spoke. Something intimidating. A grotesque mockery. I don't know, maybe it was the beer. Speaking of which, the sheriff turned his can upside down, letting a single drop fall. Damn, just when I was starting to have fun. He scratched his head for a moment. Jake, come with me. I need someone strong and more sober than me to help me get the beer stock. Can you give me a hand? I have more at home. The idea of going to the sheriff's house made me a little nervous, but I didn't want to refuse. We crossed some streets, while the sound of music and laughter faded, muffled as if the world had its volume muted. We arrived at the sheriff's old colonial house, a property with a classic style but in perfect condition. Large pointed spears rose at the gate, while the moon reflected its light through crystal clear windows. He stopped and searched for the keys, struggling for a few seconds until he found and unlocked the door. The house had a strong smell. It wasn't a stench, but something more chemical. It resembled the smell of a hospital, or maybe a solvent factory. "There's a freezer in the basement. Can you grab a few packs in there? I have to deal with something upstairs." He started climbing the stairs. Well, I know what you might be thinking. It was foolish to go down to his basement despite my suspicions, but he was still the sheriff I had always known. And besides, numerous people had seen me leave with him, and if he really wanted to do something to me, he would have already. I descended the creaky and worn stairs. The basement was totally dark, but the chemical smell seemed weaker. I felt the wall until I touched the light switch and turned on the light with a small click. It was as he had said, a mini-fridge full of beers. I'd taken 2 packs and was preparing to go, when, turning, I saw something that caught my attention. Under the stairs, a large covered pile. I approached, trying to understand what those outlines were. Sharp angles, straight. They even looked like cans. I looked up the stairs to see if I could see any sign of Butch. Apparently, not yet. Slowly, I pulled part of the tarp and looked at what was there. A heap of cans. Of bleaching powder. I think that's where the chemical smell comes from. I swear I almost overlooked it, almost covered it back up and went, but it seems my subconscious already knew what was going on. Behind the cans, I saw a small part of the peeled and open wall, like a secret door. I pulled it carefully, and what I saw completely killed my appetite and the mood for the party. There were separate piles of clothes everywhere, tufts of hair and gnawed bones. It looked like some kind of clandestine cemetery. In the middle of this, there was a wooden post, seemed to support the upper part of the house, but in the middle of it, 2 handcuffs with iron chains hung, and leaning against the trunk, a sepia photograph of a slave, a grey-haired black man, looking directly at me. His gaze seemed to pierce my flesh, and pierce my soul. It was agonizing, uncomfortable, seeing the mix of fear, hatred, and suffering on his face left me breathless. My back started to burn and throb. I almost passed out from the sensation. I just wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. I closed the door and covered the pile, grabbed the packs, and started running towards the stairs, when, turning the corner to go up, I came face to face with Sheriff Butch 2 steps away from me. "I almost thought you were dead," he laughed. "I couldn't open the fridge. I think the seal got pressurized." "Oh yeah, that kind of thing is always happening. Well, let's go back before they miss us." He ran his hand through his greying hair, fixing his hairstyle. I followed him, still thinking about what I had just seen. We arrived at the party, and I really tried to forget, but I couldn't. At least, I hope I disguised it enough. I went home to sleep when Gonzalez and the sheriff were still drinking on the sidewalk. When I went for my pajamas, I felt the fabric brushing against my back, causing a pain that wasn't there earlier. I ran to the bathroom and contorted to observe them in the mirror. My back was marked with rods, deep cuts that bled, as if it had been beaten and whipped all night. I slept in pain and turned on my stomach, pleading with any supernatural entity that it would soon pass. The next day I woke up with my boss at the door, ringing my bell insistently. Good morning, Gonzalez. Any problem? I said, between blinks and a yawn. Good morning, Jake. Can I come in? Feel free, I said, making way. He moved to the living room and sat on the couch, gesturing for me to sit too. I need to talk to you about the store. His expression became more solemn. Oh, sure, I'm going for the night shift today, right? Relax, you know I don't mind going despite the night out. I'm not even hungover. Jake. Dave. He's dead. I trembled a bit. But how? I had talked to him yesterday. I'd even left the plate in the office and locked it. Something wasn't right. Gonzalez promised me explanations today, before my shift. I'm finishing updating you so I can go to work. I don't know what's going on, but I intend to put an end to it soon. Update 1. The bruises on my back are gone, like they were never there, so no scars or anything. Wow, what a horrible time to be a sarcastic and exhausted middle-aged dude called Dave. I know you're watching these, Mark. That felt personal. I'm not going to forget this. Fantastic update as always, though. That sheriff is looking more sus every episode. Looking forward to part 5. Until then, make sure that y'all keep it spooky.